December 26th, 2022. What a time to be alive. Honestly, I can't believe the year is over. And I know we always say this at the end of each year that I can't believe the year is over. But trust me, I'm serious this time. This is the last episode for 2022. There's never going to be another episode again released for 2022. So this is special. And today we're talking about the year 2022. Not like we're discussing on what happened every day of the year, because honestly I can't remember what happened last week, but we're reflecting on how the year has been, how we've grown, the times we made mistakes, how we fell back into old unhealthy patterns, because I did, and also how you can improve for the year 2023. So let's get right into today's episode. I spent most of my time last week trying to recollect the events of the year, more like the events in my life that happened this year. And to be honest, the most I could remember were the terrible ones. All I could remember were the days I cried for almost a month, the days I wished I was never born, and the days I felt really, really empty. But honestly though, was that all that happened for me this year? I mean, truth be told, those moments took up most of my year, but really, that's not all that happened. I was 100% looking forward to what this year had for me in January. Like, I was already excited in December 2021 on how 2022 was going to look like for me. I had never been more excited in my entire life about a year starting than I was for the beginning of 2022. I mean, it was that serious. And it wasn't just about the plans I had for myself that I was excited to accomplish, but it was more of the assurance that I had that this was going to be the best year for me yet. I mean, I was so confident in January, honestly. And yeah, I carried that enthusiasm with me to February until my school decided to go on strike. And I suddenly felt like my life pressed the pause button. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I never saw this coming. And even though the strike did end after 8 months, we were back to school, attended lectures, wrote exams, and now it's December 26th. Honestly, that's like how fast the year looks like in my eyes. But anyways, today's episode is not to make you stay stuck in the unpleasant memories of the year, but to help you access your growth, assess it, know how far you've gone in terms of your growth, personal development in other areas of your life. And to really get the most of this episode, I'd suggest you grab a pen and a paper, because I'm going to be asking a few questions that you listening to this, you need to answer for yourself, by yourself. And now, to review your year, you're going to intentionally be honest when you're answering these questions, and you answer questions regarding where you succeeded, what you enjoyed most about the year 2022, where you had setbacks, your regrets, the lessons you learned, and also what you would do differently maybe in the year 2023. And when reflecting on the year, it's important to review, yes, different aspects of your life, not just maybe in terms of your finances. Maybe when you're reviewing the year, you look at it generally in terms of your spirituality, your finances or your career, your love life, your family, your education, your mental health, and also, your personal growth, your development. And to best determine how well you succeeded, you need to revisit the goals you wrote down at the beginning of the year. That's if you wrote down any goals. And if you didn't write down any goals, or maybe by any chance you lost the goals you wrote, like I did when my phone spoiled, but it's still very possible for you to gauge your success level. So firstly, Before I just dive into the questions, I want to say that I will be answering some of these questions for myself. Like, I'm being open now and I'm answering some of the questions, but I'm not going to be answering everything. And basically, I'm just answering them to show you like a guideline on how to answer your own questions in your journal or notepad, whatever it is you have to write. Now, the first question is, what are you most proud of from your achievements in the past year? Now, whatever your answer is, pause this episode. I'm serious. You can pause like right now, press the pause button and write down in your journal or notepad, whatever you have in your hand, the answer to this question. What are you most proud of from your accomplishments or your achievements in the past year? Definitely you should have something you're proud of yourself for in this year. For me, I'd say my best accomplishment so far in 2020 is this podcast. Obviously, starting something I had no experience in, staying consistent and recording 30 plus episodes. You guys, wasn't easy, but we're still here and I'm actually so proud of that. I'll probably replay this when we reach like episode 300. I'm so looking forward to that. But anyways, the next question to ask yourself to reflect on how your year has been is, what did I most enjoy this year? Was it my work? Was I really passionate about my work? Was it the time I spent with my friends and family, the time I spent alone, the time I spent with my community, or maybe my relationship? I don't know, whatever. Like, this is a personal question, so as usual, pause this episode to answer what that question is. This episode is more of like a really, really practical episode where you have to be open and honest to yourself, not me. I don't need to know what the answers in your journal are, really. But I'm going to be sharing what I did most enjoy this year. That was, for me, I'd say I enjoyed preparing new podcast episodes. I enjoyed the research, the recordings, the what do I call it? The pre-recordings and the ones I released. I've done like more than 100 recordings this year. Not like, yeah, I know that we've had just 30 plus episodes, but I've done like 100 recordings because there are recordings where I made mistakes and I was like, Praise, really, what's wrong with you? And then I had to start all over again. And that process, even though at the time it looked really stressful, it was actually fun, to be honest. And I'd say that I also enjoyed the time I spent with my loved ones and my spiritual community, which is like my church. I really, really love my church. So anyways, question 3 is, where did you fail? Where did you have a setback? Or where did you not give in your all? As usual, yes. I know the question you're asking me right now is, do I need to pause this episode to answer that one? Yes, you do need to pause to answer that one. And to answer this question for myself, I'd say that where I failed, maybe I'd say I failed at growing my Instagram community the way I really wanted it to, grow. Mostly because I didn't exactly put in as much efforts required to achieve the certain goal I had in mind. However, the year is not over yet and I can still reach a certain goal of 1k followers as long as you follow me after listening to this episode. But anyways, the fourth question is, what do you regret doing or not doing in 2022? I guess this is a tricky question. It's actually similar to the last question, but for me, I'd say I regret venturing into some businesses that brought more loss than gain. That was like during the strike, and I was just really like, oh my god, I need to figure out ways to make money. And I did make stupid decisions, I tell you, but it was nice, doing something new, even though I messed up or it messed up, I don't know which. But and to the not doing part, I'd say I regret not preparing podcast episodes ahead while I had the chance during the strike, because this made me like unable to upload new episode when school resumed back, because honestly my hostel in school is not the best. Like, it's not the best environment for recording, and I didn't even have the time when school resumed back. So anyways, enough of me. Back to you. Number 5, the question to reflect on 2022 is, what lessons did you learn this year? Now, I haven't really thought deep about the lessons I've learned. I mean, I sure have a bunch of them, but I haven't exactly thought about a specific one yet. So you're gonna have to think deep and answer this question in your journal. It might take a while for you to think about the lessons. Maybe you can break it down. What lessons did I learn from January, from February, March, I don't know, or maybe from the first half of the year. Just try and break it down. Don't make it look so large. Like, of course you'd have lessons, and it's important to actually write this down, because this can actually help you to avoid making the same mistakes in 2023. So, reflection question 6. What will you do differently in 2023? I'm tired of saying 2023, and we haven't even entered the year yet. But anyways, what will you do differently next year? As regards your spiritual life, your career, your friendships, relationships, academics, personal development, as regards taking care of your mental health. What would you do differently? I'm not gonna answer that question, but you should answer that question in your journal. No, I mean, I'd answer the question in my journal, yes, for sure, but I'm not going to share the response on this podcast. That's what I mean. Now, question 7, what do you need to do more of? It's actually similar to question 6, but it's kind of different because it's more specific. Like, what do you need to do more of? Maybe in your spiritual life, friendships, academics, personal development, the same areas. For me, I'd say more prayer and meditation in God's word, more of me putting myself out there and adjusting to social situations and environments, even though they make me so uncomfortable, because I like to think of myself as an introvert. It's not like I don't like people, but I'm not used to socializing. Definitely more reading of books on mental health. I mean, of course. Listening to more podcasts for sure, and spending more time with my loved ones, really, basically. That's it. That's what I'll do more of. And now, please do not get carried away with my answers. I'm just sharing them to, maybe you can use them as a guideline in answering yours, but just be sure that you answer your questions honestly. Be honest in your journal. Nobody needs to see your answers. It's just you, okay? So now, next question. What would you do less of next year? What would you do less of while preparing for next year? Interesting. I'd say less overthinking and worrying, because I did that a lot this year, and honestly, it just made matters worse. Overthinking never helps, trust me. So less overthinking and worrying, spending less time with my digital devices. Honestly, they almost ran me mad this year. Not literally ran me mad, but I was having physical effects, too much headache, eyes aching, because I was spending too much time with my devices, especially at night. So spending less time with my digital devices, reacting less and trying to respond more. Maybe I'm triggered by a comment someone makes, or something someone says, or maybe an event. My goal would be to react less and just be in the present and respond. And so, other questions I'd ask in this episode, they do require in-depth thinking, so I will not be answering them again. Now, the next question is, what sticks out to you most about the past year, 2022? For example, maybe a certain event, or a memory or a big change or accomplishment, a milestone, a transition into, just anything. Basically, I gasped like that because I remembered something, but that's personal. So for you, just try to figure out what stuck out for you most about this year. Maybe it might be good, it might be bad, I don't know. It depends on the experiences you've had, basically. So the next question is, how did you begin this year and how would you want to end it? Obviously, I shared this story at the beginning that I was so excited about this year. I was pumped up, I was so enthusiastic, And how will I choose to end my year? I'd probably choose to end it with the same energy in anticipation for 2023, that's for sure. And so the last question before we go is, what are your new goals for 2023? Now, this one would require you to think really deep. Like, it takes time to figure out these things. I can't just wake up one morning and be like, some it might be easy to figure out, and some it might require more time for you to think about it. But anyways, you need to list out your goals differently. Like, goals for my spiritual life, list them out here. Goals for my career and finances, list them out. Goals for my mental health, personal development, list them out. Goals for my friendships and relationships, list them out. Goals for my academics, maybe you want to go into PhD or masters, I don't know why people do that. I would never. Not I might, but anyways, goals for your academics, you need to list them out too. And while listing them out, you get to decide which ones are long-term goals, in the sense that which ones would still be your goals even after 2023 is over. And after you've done all that, I'd really advise you to just, take small steps every day, because that's basically how goals are achieved. To achieve your goals, it requires you to take baby steps, make decisions day by day that would help you in achieving them. So, and honestly, I advise you to start from today, or start from the day you figure out what your goals are. Start working towards their accomplishment. Don't wait till like it's January 1, 2023 before, don't wait till the date changes before you start working towards those goals. Anyways, I wish you luck. I wish you the very best. A happy new year in advance. Have the best year. Just like, I don't know what your experience was like for 2022, but have a better year than 2022. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends, family, and co-workers. You can also share a screenshot of it on IG and tag me. The link to my profile is in the description. I'd love to give you a shout out in next week's episode. Finally, before I go, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on the podcasting platform you're using. Have a healthy mind till we talk again next Monday.